Hi, and welcome back to this Wednesday edition of Focal Point and AFR Talk. Again, just a programming note, we will be chatting with Senator Rand Paul from the state of Kentucky at 1:45 this afternoon in less than 30 minutes from now, or just about exactly 30 minutes from now. He has not been shy about the fact that he is considering a possible run for the presidency in 2016. So we want to explore some of the issues that we're dealing with at a national level to see where Senator Paul is positioned. And we're going to ask him at the beginning of the conversation about where he stands on this Rubio immigration plan. It's an amnesty plan. I refer to these 8 senators as the Amnesty 8. That's my term for them, because what they are talking about is an amnesty program. No matter how they want to try to present it, this is, in fact, an amnesty program. Now, I want to go back to... Let's grab clip number 1. This is President Obama, April 26, 2008. Now, yesterday, President Obama flew out to Las Vegas, $1.6 million of your money and mine for a 30-minute speech. This was a $1.6 million photo op. He could have delivered this from the press room in the White House or from the Rose Garden. Didn't have to spend $1.6 million of your money and mine to do this in Las Vegas as a photo op. And he did it at a school which is academically is performing abysmally. Couldn't have picked a worse backdrop for a speech. Now, yesterday, what President Obama said is I want a faster track to citizenship than even Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio's out there with an amnesty plan. The Amnesty 8 have come up with this plan that will legalize these people instantaneously. That's why it's amnesty, ladies and gentlemen. Do not let Marco Rubio fool you. Don't let him lie to you. He fooled Rush Limbaugh yesterday. I read the transcript last night of Marco Rubio's appearance on Rush Limbaugh's program, and I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it was almost embarrassing to listen to Rush Limbaugh fawn all over Marco Rubio. It was like a bromance thing going on there. He was obviously smitten with Marco Rubio and did not probe what Marco Rubio believes and is prepared to advance with regard to immigration. Now, you're going to hear Marco Rubio talk a lot about these triggers. We got to have these enforcement triggers. These enforcement triggers have to be in place. Now, what I want you to understand about that, what you need to be very careful about that is there's a loophole that you can drive a truck through. When Marco Rubio and Rush Limbaugh, I got enormous respect and affection for Rush Limbaugh. Do not misunderstand what I'm saying here. I think Rush Limbaugh right now is the most important man in America because he is the strongest and staunchest and most unflinching voice for conservatism on the air. But he got snookered by Marco Rubio. He got taken by Marco Rubio yesterday and became a Marco Rubio fanboy. And Marco Rubio is absolutely dead wrong on immigration. Now, here's what Marco Rubio said to Rush Limbaugh yesterday. If this bill does not have real triggers in there, if there's not language in this bill that guarantees that nothing else will happen unless these enforcement mechanisms are in place, I won't support it. Now, that sounds good, but you got to understand what he is not saying. What he is saying is the triggers have to be in there. Triggers on enforcement got to be in there. It's got to be in the bill. He does not say when those triggers have to be pulled. He doesn't say we got to pull the trigger and actually get enforcement working before we go to legalization. He just says the bill has to have triggers in them. These enforcement mechanisms, he says, must be in place. He doesn't say they've got to be in force. He doesn't say they've got to be in action. He doesn't say they have to actually be deployed and be demonstrated to be working. They just have to be in the bill. Now, how many spending bills have we seen that have had triggers in them? I mean, one tax bill after another, these tax increase bills. Yeah, if spending goes over a certain amount, we got a trigger mechanism in there. We are going to cut spending. That's the fail-safe here. We're going to have that trigger in there. And if these tax increases go too high, if spending goes too high, boy, we've got a trigger mechanism in there, and we are going to cut spending. I mean, you had that last summer, 2011. That's what the deficit deal was all about. Got these triggers in there. Well, they're meaningless because the trigger never gets pulled. So you got to listen carefully to what Marco Rubio, I mean, it sounds good until you look carefully at what he's saying. And like I said yesterday, this plan from the Amnesty 8, including Marco Rubio, is way worse than I thought. When I listened to him describe this to Sean Hannity yesterday, this thing is worse than I even imagined. Because what Marco Rubio said to Sean Hannity, and it's words coming out of his own mouth, we played the sound bites yesterday, he said, look, we're going to legalize everybody right out of the chute. Day one. Chuck Schumer's out there. Chuck Schumer is a part of the Amnesty 8. Marco Rubio is a part of the Amnesty 8. Chuck Schumer talking about how giddy he got when John McCain called him up and said, let's do something. Lindsey Graham's out saying the band is back together. This is like a reunion tour. This is the Rolling Stones coming back together. The band is back together. What band? The band that tried to shove this down our throats in 2007. It's the same gang. Then it was the Gang of Six. Now this is the Amnesty 8 because Marco Rubio has been added to the mix. But it is the same plan. John McCain said, yeah, this is what Ted Kennedy was talking about. Ted Kennedy would love this bill. I wish Ted Kennedy could be here today to see this bill. And John McCain said, look, this is identical to what we tried to ram down the throats of the American people in 2007. It's no different. And Marco Rubio is on board with this thing. Ted Cruz is the one guy in the Senate that's saying, look, I'm not down with this. This is bad. This is not fair. This is not fair to the people who have been playing by the rules. And he's exactly right. Look, we're supposed to be about fairness. We're supposed to be about equality under the law, and this bill does not accomplish that. Chuck Schumer said, day one, we're going to legalize 12 million people. We're going to legalize them. They're going to be here legally. They can come out of the shadows. They don't have to worry about anybody hassling them. They don't have to worry about anybody deporting them. We are going to legalize them on day one. Day one. That means before any enforcement's been done, before any border security has been beefed up, before any verification procedures are in place, they're going to be legalized. They never have to worry about their legal status again. And Rush Limbaugh just got taken yesterday by Marco Rubio on this at the end of the interview, and the New York Times is giddy over this. The New York Times recognizes something that Rush Limbaugh doesn't recognize. I mean, the New York Times recognizes that basically Rush got taken to the house here by Marco Rubio, because this is what Rush says to Marco Rubio at the end of the interview. What you are doing is admirable and noteworthy. You are recognizing reality. You're trumpeting it. You're shouting it. You have a difficult job ahead of you because you are meeting everybody honestly, forthrightly, halfway. You are seeking compromise. I mean, I'm just scratching my head. I mean, I love Rush Limbaugh. I admire Rush Limbaugh. I've never met him. I don't know him, but I have an affection for him. He's the Michael Jordan of talk radio. He's the best that ever has been. He's the best that ever will be. So I don't want to be misunderstood here. This doesn't diminish my respect or my affection or my admiration for him in the least. But when have you ever heard Rush Limbaugh talking about how wonderful it is to meet these people halfway? When has he ever talked about the glories of compromise? I mean, what Rush has accurately said, look, there's no common ground here. There's no common ground between conservatives and liberals on these important public policy issues. There isn't any common ground. There's no place to meet them halfway. And I understand Debbie was listening to him this morning and understand he's begun to backpedal from some of this, claiming that he was kind of misunderstood in what he was saying and all that. And I hope he does, because he was absolutely dead wrong to give Marco Rubio the kind of pass that he gave him yesterday. Now, here is Barack Obama. Now, yesterday, this is what I was getting to when I started before I sidetracked myself. Yesterday, Barack Obama said, look, I want to get them to citizenship quicker even than Marco Rubio does. The Amnesty 8, yeah, they got citizenship down the line. They're going to legalize them on day one. But, man, they're going to make them pay. And, remember, again, I'm sidetracking myself again, but remember, when Rubio was on with Hannity, he talked about how much this was going to cost them. Yeah, it's going to cost them fines. It's going to cost them taxes. They're going to have to go to the back of the line. They're going to have to wait. They're not going to be able to jump ahead of anybody. And, I mean, you listen to Marco Rubio, and obviously what he's trying to do is he's trying to appeal to conservatives because he knows this looks soft. It sounds soft. It feels soft. And the reason it does is because it is soft. So he's trying to tell us, look, we're tougher than nails on this. We're going to make them pay through the nose. They got it. They can't jump ahead of anybody in the line. It's going to cost them fines. They're going to have to get fingerprinted. They got to go through a background check. And Barack Obama says, look, that's mean. That's mean. They don't want you to become a part of this society. Look at all the hoops they want to make you jump through. Look at all the fines they want to impose on you when all you want to do is come here and be a part of pursuing the American dream. So Obama yesterday said, look, we want to cut them right to the front of the line. We want to give them citizenship, no requirements, no anything, no border security, no conditions. We just want to make them citizens, all 12 million of them. And now to oppose that, you're going to look mean. And see, that's what the Republicans do not understand. President Obama's strategy here is not to make citizens out of these illegal aliens. His agenda is to make the Republicans look mean, to make them look rigid, to make them look mean-spirited, to make them look xenophobic, to make them look like they lack compassion. And again, the issue here is compassion for whom? Compassion for the people that have to pay the bills for all of this illegal immigration? I mean, nobody talks about the compassion for them, the people that are stuck with the bill. How is it fair to them? How is it compassion to them? Anyway, here's where I started. Here's Barack Obama back in 2008. And listen to how tough he sounds. He sounds tougher, ladies and gentlemen. He sounds tougher than Marco Rubio. Let's listen.
Here's what I said. If we're honest about it, we do have to solve the problem, which means we should require all these undocumented workers to come out of the shadows, get registered, pay a fine, pay their back taxes, learn English, go to the back of the line, so that they're not getting citizenship before people who applied legally. But we've got to give them a pathway so that they've got an opportunity to get straight and to become functioning members of our community.
That's Barack Obama, 2008. Boy, we're going to stick it to them. We got to make them register. We got to have them pay fines. We got to have them pay taxes. We got to make them learn English. They got to go to the back of the line. But we got to have a pathway to citizenship for them. That once you get to the but, you can forget everything that came in front of it. We got to provide a pathway for citizenship, and that's what Marco Rubio's. That's what the Amnesty 8 bill does. It legalizes them immediately, and it provides a guaranteed pathway to citizenship for them. So this is no different than what Barack Obama was talking about in 2008. And how serious was he about that? Not serious at all. You got any liberals a part of this, and you got 4 Democrats co-sponsors. Those threats are absolutely meaningless. Focal Point, AFR Talk.